Let us understand what a comeback truly is. It is not merely a return to a former state of glory or success. No, my dear friends, a true comeback is a complete rebirth, a total transformation of your being. It is the realization of your divine nature, the awakening to the God within you that has been sleeping, waiting for this very moment to arise and claim its rightful place in your consciousness. You see, the world you perceive around you is nothing but a reflection of your own consciousness. Every circumstance, every person, every event in your life is but an outpicturing of your inner state. And it is this fundamental truth that holds the key to your greatest comeback. Many of you sit here today, perhaps feeling defeated, worn down by life's challenges, or simply yearning for something more. You may look at your current circumstances and wonder, how can I possibly make a comeback from this? But I tell you now, with absolute that the power to transform your life lies within you at this very moment. The secret, my friends, is this: you must first make your comeback in your imagination. For your imagination is not some fanciful toy of the mind, but the very workshop of God. It is the creative power of the universe, given to you to shape and mold your reality as you see fit. Consider for a moment the life you truly desire. See it clearly in your mind's eye. Feel the emotions associated with living that life. Experience the joy, the fulfillment, the sense of purpose that comes with it. This is not mere daydreaming or wishful thinking. This is the first step in making your greatest comeback a reality. For you see, when you imagine yourself in the state of your desired comeback, you are actually experiencing that reality in a dimension beyond time and space. In that realm, your comeback has already happened. You have already triumphed. You have already become the person you aspire to be. Now, some of you may be thinking, but Neville, how can simply imagining something make it real? And to that I say, everything in this world was once imagined before it became manifest. The clothes you wear, the chair you sit on, the very building we're in, all of these were first conceived in someone's imagination before they took physical form. Your life is no different. It is a product of your imagination, whether you have been conscious of it or not. Every experience you've had, every circumstance you find yourself in, is the result of the stage you have occupied in your imagination. So if you want to make your biggest comeback, you must first experience it fully in your imagination. You must live from the end, as if your comeback has already occurred. This is the art of revision, of rewriting your story not as it appears to be, but as you wish it to be. Let me share with you a simple technique to aid you in this process. Tonight, as you lay your head upon your pillow, close your eyes and imagine a scene that would imply your comeback is complete. Perhaps it's a conversation with a friend congratulating you on your success. Maybe it's the feeling of standing on a stage, receiving an award for your achievements. Or it could be as simple as looking at yourself in the mirror and seeing the confident, fulfilled person you've become. Whatever scene you choose, make it as vivid and real as possible. Engage all your senses. Feel the emotions associated with this achievement. And most importantly, have the sense of naturalness about it, as if this is simply who you are and how your life is. As you fall asleep in this state, you are impressing this new reality upon your subconscious mind. And your subconscious, my friends, is the hidden operator that shapes your outer world. It knows no limitations, no obstacles. It will work tirelessly to bring about the conditions necessary for your imagined state to become your physical reality. Now, I can hear some of you thinking, but what about action? Don't we need to do something to make our comeback a reality? And to that I say, of course, action is part of the process. But it is inspired action, action that flows naturally from your new state of consciousness. You see, when you truly live from the end in your imagination, when you fully embody the state of your desired comeback, your actions will automatically align with that reality. You will find yourself naturally doing the things that someone in that state would do. Opportunities will present themselves, and you will be inspired to take advantage of them. This is the true meaning of the biblical phrase, faith without works is dead. Your faith, which is nothing more than your persistent imagination of the desired state, will inevitably lead to works. But these works are not the cause of your comeback. They are the effect. Let me illustrate this with a story. There was once a man who had lost everything: his business, his savings, his reputation. He was, by all outward appearances, a failure. But this man understood the power of imagination. Every night he would fall asleep imagining himself as a successful businessman once again. He would feel the satisfaction of running a thriving company, the joy of providing for his family, the pride of having rebuilt his reputation. At first, nothing seemed to change in his outer world, but he persisted in his imaginal act, night after night. Then one day he had an idea for a new business venture. It seemed to come out of nowhere, but in reality, it was the natural outgrowth of his new state of consciousness. He pursued this idea with enthusiasm, and within a year, he had not only regained his former success, but had far surpassed it. This, my friends, is the pattern of all great comebacks. They begin in the imagination, take root in the subconscious, and then bloom in the outer world. Your job is not to figure out how your comeback will happen, but to live so completely in the end result that it has no choice but to manifest. Now let us delve deeper into the nature of your being, for this is crucial to understanding how you'll come to make your biggest comeback. You are not merely a physical body, limited by time and space. You are a divine being, a spark of the infinite consciousness that creates and sustains all of existence. Your true self is not bound by your past experiences or your current circumstances. It exists in a state of pure potential, capable of expressing itself in infinite ways. When you grasp this truth, truly grasp it, you will understand that there are no limits to the comeback you can make. Think about it. If you are in essence the very power that creates worlds, what comeback could possibly be beyond your reach? The only limits that exist are those you have accepted in your own mind. And what the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. So I ask you now, what is the grandest vision you have for your comeback? What is the most magnificent expression of your potential that you can imagine? Allow yourself to dream big, for the universe knows no distinction between small dreams and large ones. To the infinite, all things are equally possible. Perhaps your comeback involves becoming a leader in your field, revolutionizing an industry, or creating a work of art that touches millions of lives. Maybe it's about healing a relationship that seemed beyond repair, or finding a level of inner peace and fulfillment never think. Whatever it is, know that it is within your power to achieve it. But remember, the key is not just to think about your comeback, or to wish for it, but to experience it fully in your imagination. You must feel the reality of it with every fiber of your being. You must walk, talk, and breathe as the person who has already made this comeback. This may seem challenging at first, especially if your current circumstances seem far removed from your desired state. But I assure you, with practice, it will become second nature. And as you persist in this practice, you will begin to see your outer world shift to match your inner experience. Now, let me address a concern that often arises when discussing this principle. Some of you may be wondering, what about other people? Don't they have a say in my comeback? And to that I say, the people and circumstances in your life are not separate from you. They are reflections of your consciousness, playing the parts you have assigned to them in the drama of your life. As you change your concept of yourself, as you live from the state of your completed comeback, you will find that others naturally adjust to support your new reality. Those who cannot align with your new state will fade from your experience, while new individuals who resonate with your achieved comeback will enter your life. This is not manipulation or control of others. It is simply the law of your own being. You are the author of your life story, and as you rewrite that story in your imagination, the characters and settings will naturally adapt to fit the new narrative. Consider the example of a caterpillar transforming into a butterfly. As the caterpillar undergoes its metamorphosis, its entire world changes. It no longer relates to its environment in the same way. Its food, its habitat, its very way of being shifts dramatically. Yet this transformation doesn't require the caterpillar to manipulate its surroundings. The change happens from within, and the outer world naturally conforms to support the new state of being. Your comeback is no different. As you transform internally, embodying the state of your achieved comeback, your world will rearrange itself to support this new you. This is the true meaning of the phrase, when the student is ready, the teacher appears when you are ready. When you have fully assumed the state of your comeback, in your imagination, all that you need to support that state will appear in your life. Now let's address another vital aspect of making your biggest comeback, the role of persistence. You see, the power of your imagination is absolute, but the manifestation of your imagined state in the physical still world often requires time. The seed you plant in your subconscious mind through your imaginal acts needs time to germinate and grow. During this period, it may seem as though nothing is happening. Your outer world may appear unchanged, or you may even face challenges that seem to contradict your desired outcome. This is the time when many people give up, concluding that their imaginal work didn't work. But I tell you now, this is precisely the time when you must persist most fervently in your imaginal acts. Remember, your senses show you the world as it is, not as it will be. They reflect the harvest of seeds planted in the past. Your imagination, on the other hand, is planting new seeds for future harvests. You must have the faith to water these seeds with your continued attention and belief, even when there is no physical evidence of growth. Think of it like this. If you were to plant a seed in your garden, you wouldn't dig it up every day to see if it's growing, would you? No, you would plant the seed, water it regularly, and trust in the natural process of growth. Your imaginal act is the seed. Your persistence in living from the end is the water and sunlight. And your faith is the fertile soil in which this seed will grow. So how do you maintain this persistence? How do you continue to live from the end when your senses scream that nothing has changed? The key is to fall in love with your imagined state. Make it so real, so vivid, so delightful that you prefer it to your current reality. Immerse yourself in it so completely that you almost forget your former state. This is not about escaping reality or deluding yourself. It's about understanding that your imagination is the most real, most causative dimension of your being. It is the dimension where all change begins. By living there, by making your home in the state of your completed comeback, you set in motion the forces that will bring it into the physical manifestation. Let me share with you another technique to aid in this persistence. Throughout your day, whenever you have a quiet moment, ask yourself this question: how would I feel right now if my comeback were complete then? Allow yourself to feel those emotions fully. Feel the confidence, the joy, the sense of accomplishment. Let these feelings permeate your entire being. This practice serves two purposes. First, it keeps you aligned with the state of your desired comeback throughout your day, not just during your dedicated imaginal sessions. Second, it trains your mind to focus on the feeling of the wish fulfilled, rather than the absence of what you desire. Remember, what you focus on expands. By consistently focusing on the feeling of your achieved comeback, you amplify its reality in your consciousness. Now, let's address a common pitfall that many encounter on the path to their comeback: the temptation to share their vision prematurely. In your excitement about your imagined state, you may feel compelled to tell others about your plans for a comeback. I caution you against this. You see, your imaginal act is a sacred thing. It is a seed planted in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind. Exposing this tender seedling to the harsh light of others' opinions and doubts can wither it before it has a chance to take root. Moreover, speaking about your comeback as a future event reinforces its status as something you lack, rather than something you have already achieved in your imagination. Instead, I encourage you to nurture your vision in the quiet of your own consciousness. Let it grow strong and vital within you. When others begin to see the fruits of your comeback manifesting in your life, they will ask you about it. And then, if you choose, you can share your story as a testament to the power of imagination. This principle of silence is beautifully illustrated in the biblical story of Mary, the mother of Jesus after the Annunciation, when she was told she would bear the Son of God. The scripture says, "But Mary kept all these things and pondered them in her heart." She didn't rush to tell everyone about the miraculous event that was to come. She held it within, allowing it to gestate both physically and spiritually. Your comeback is your own personal annunciation. It is the divine speaking to you, revealing the greatness that you are capable of manifesting. Honor it with your silence, nurture it with your unwavering belief, and watch as it comes to fruition in ways that will astonish you. As we continue our exploration of making your biggest comeback, let us turn our attention to another crucial aspect: the release of your past. Many of you may be carrying the weight of past failures, disappointments, or traumas. These experiences can seem like insurmountable obstacles to your comeback, but I tell you now, they are only obstacles if you allow them to be. You see, your past has no power over you except the power you give it through your attention and belief. The events of your past are not fixed, immutable facts. They are simply states you once occupied in consciousness, and just as you entered those states, you have the power to leave them behind. This is where the art of revision comes into play. Revision is not about denying what happened, but about reinterpreting it in a way that serves your desired state. It's about extracting the gift, the lesson, the growth opportunity from every experience, no matter how painful it might have been. Let me give you a practical exercise in revision. Tonight, before you sleep, review the events of your day. But instead of simply recalling what happened, reimagine them as you would have liked them to be. If you had a disagreement with someone, reimagine it as a harmonious interaction. If you faced a challenge at work, reimagine yourself handling it with ease and confidence. As you do this, you're not changing the past in a literal sense. What you're doing is far more powerful. You're changing your relationship to the past. You're rewriting the story in your subconscious mind, creating new patterns of thought and behavior that will shape your future experiences. This practice of revision can be extended to any event in your past that you feel is holding you back from your comeback. Perhaps there was a business venture that failed, a relationship that ended painfully, or a missed opportunity that you've been regretting. Take each of these experiences and revise them in your imagination. See them playing out in a way that supports your comeback. For instance, if you had a business failure in the past, reimagine it as a valuable learning experience that prepared you for your current success. If a relationship ended, see it as clearing the way for a more fulfilling partnership. If you missed an opportunity, imagine that an even better opportunity arose as a result. As you practice this revision, you'll find that your past loses its grip on you. It no longer defines you or limits you. Instead, it becomes a rich tapestry of experiences, all contributing to your growth and ultimate comeback. Remember, time is a construct of consciousness. In the realm of imagination, which is your true home, all times exist simultaneously. This means that your past, present, and future are all accessible and changeable from the eternal now of your consciousness. By revising your past, you are literally creating a new platform from which to launch your comeback. Now let's delve into another powerful concept that will aid you in making your biggest comeback, the law of assumption. This law states that if you assume a certain state to be true and persist in that assumption, it must harden into fact in your ficting or physical reality. This means that to make your comeback, you must assume the state of having already made that comeback. You must think from it, not of it. There's a crucial difference here. Thinking of your comeback places it in the future, always just out of reach. Thinking from your comeback means embodying it fully in the present moment. How do you do this? Begin by asking yourself, if I had already made my biggest comeback, how would I think? How would I feel? How would I carry myself? What would my daily routines look like? Then start living as if these things were already true. If your comeback involves becoming a successful entrepreneur, start setting your alarm as if you had important meetings to attend. Dress as if you were already leading a thriving company. Speak with the confidence of someone who has already achieved great success. If your comeback is about regaining your health and vitality, start eating and moving as if you were already in peak physical condition. Go to bed early as if you valued your rest. Look in the mirror and see the vibrant, healthy person you are becoming. This might feel like pretending at first, and in a sense it is. But remember, all of physical reality began as a pretense in someone's imagination. Your current circumstances, which seem so solid and real, were once just a state assumed in consciousness. As you persist in assuming your new state, you will begin to notice subtle shifts in your outer world. People may start treating you differently. Opportunities that align with your assumed state will begin to appear. You'll find yourself naturally taking actions that support your comeback. This is the bridge of incidents, a series of events that leads from your current state to your desired state. You don't need to plan this bridge or figure out how it will be built. Your only job is to stay faithful to your assumed state, and the bridge will form beneath your feet as you walk. Now, I can hear some of you thinking, but Neville, what if I assume this state and nothing happens? What if I fail to this? I say failure is impossible if you persist in your assumption. What appears as failure is simply a moment in time, a point on the bridge of incidents. It's not the end of the story unless you decide it is. Remember, the only place where your comeback can be aborted is in your own imagination. As long as you hold true to your assumed state, as long as you continue to live from the end, your comeback is inevitable. It must come to pass, for that is the law of your being. Let me share a story to illustrate this point. There was once a man who dreamed of becoming a great actor. He assumed the state of being a celebrated performer, living from it day and night in his imagination. He went to auditions, confident in his assumed state, but faced rejection after rejection. Many would have given up at this point, concluding that their imaginal act had failed. But this man persisted. He continued to live from the state of being a successful actor, even as he worked menial jobs to support himself. He treated each rejection as merely a scene in the movie of his life, knowing that the grand finale would be his ultimate success. And indeed, after years of persistence, he got his big break. Today, he is one of the most recognized and respected actors in the world. This man's story is a testament to the power of persistent assumption. He did not allow temporary setbacks to dislodge him from his assumed state. He knew that his outer world had to conform to his inner conviction eventually. And so it did. Your comeback story can be just as powerful, just as inspiring. But it requires the same level of persistence, the same unshakable faith in your assumed state. No matter what your senses tell you, no matter what challenges you face, you must continue to live from the state of your completed comeback. This persistence is not about gritting your teeth and pushing through difficulty. It's about so falling in love with your assumed state that you cannot bear to leave it. It's about making your imagined reality so vivid, so real, so delightful that it eclipses your current circumstances. As you continue on this journey of making your biggest comeback, I want to address something that many of you may be experiencing, the feeling of impatience. You may find yourself constantly looking for signs that your comeback is manifesting, anxiously waiting for your outer world to catch up with your core. This impatience, my dear friends, is one of the greatest obstacles to the realization of your desires. You see, impatience implies lack. When you are impatient for your comeback to manifest, you are affirming that you do not have it now. This puts you in a state of wanting rather than a state of having. And the universe, which knows only how to match your inner state, will continue to give you more of that wanting. The key is to cultivate a sense of calm assurance. Know that your comeback is already complete in the realm of imagination, which is the only true reality. Your three-dimensional world is merely catching up to what is already finished in consciousness. Think of it like this: when you plant a seed in the ground, you stand over it day after day, impatiently waiting for it to sprout. No, you plant the seed and then go about your life, trusting in the natural process of growth. You don't doubt that the seed will grow just because you can't see what's happening beneath the soil. Your imaginal act is like that seed. Once you have planted it in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind, through your assumption of the state of your completed comeback, your work is done. Now you must allow it the time and space to germinate and grow. This doesn't mean you become passive. Rather, you continue to live from your assumed state, taking inspired action when it presents itself, but without anxiety or impatience. You move through your days with the calm confidence of someone who knows their good is already secured. To help you cultivate this attitude, I offer you this simple practice. Whenever you find yourself feeling impatient or anxious about your comeback, pause and take a deep breath. Then say to yourself, my comeback is already complete. I am experiencing it now in my imagination. And I know that my outer world must conform to this inner reality. I relax and allow this process to unfold in its perfect timing. By affirming this truth and releasing your attachment to when and how your comeback will manifest, you open yourself to receive it. You create a state of receptivity in your consciousness, allowing your good to flow to you unimpeded by doubt or impatience. Now let us explore another vital aspect of making your biggest comeback: the release of limiting beliefs. Each of you carries within you a set of beliefs about yourself and the world. These beliefs, whether you're conscious of them or not, shape your experiences and determine the extent of your comeback. Many of these beliefs were formed in childhood or through past experiences, and they may no longer serve you. Beliefs like "I'm not good enough," "success is hard," or "I always fail in the end" can act as invisible barriers to your comeback. The good news is that beliefs are not fact. They are simply thoughts that you have thought so often that they have become habitual. And just as you form these beliefs, you have the power to change them. The first step in changing a limiting belief is to become aware of it. Pay attention to your self-talk, to the thoughts that run through your mind when you think about your comeback. When you notice a thought that doesn't align with your desired state, pause and question it. Is it really true? Can you absolutely know that it's true? How does believing this thought make you feel? Who would you be without this thought? Once you've identified a limiting belief, you can begin to replace it with empowering belief that supports your comeback. For instance, if you've been holding the belief "I'm not good enough," you might replace it with "I am more than enough. And I have all the resources within me to make my biggest comeback." Remember, your subconscious mind doesn't distinguish between what's real and what's imagined. By consistently thinking and feeling from your new belief, you impress it upon your subconscious, and it begins to manifest in your outer world. This process of changing beliefs is not always easy. You may encounter resistance from your old patterns of thinking. But persist, my friends. Every time you choose your new belief over the old one, you weaken the old neural pathway and strengthen the new one. Over time, your new empowering belief will become as natural and automatic as the old one once was. As you work on releasing limiting beliefs, you may find that certain people or situations in your life seem to challenge your new state. Perhaps family members or friends express doubt about your ability to make a comeback. Or maybe circumstances arise that appear to contradict your assumed state. In these moments, remember this fundamental truth: everyone and everything in your world is you pushed out. The doubts expressed by others are merely reflections of your own doubts. The challenging circumstances are opportunities for you to strengthen your faith in your assumed state. Instead of reacting to these seeming obstacles, use them as opportunities to deepen your commitment to your new state. When someone expresses doubt, silently reaffirm your belief in your comeback. When a challenging situation arises, ask yourself, how would I handle this if my comeback were already complete? Then act from that state. By doing this, you are not only reinforcing your new state in your own consciousness, but you are also transforming the consciousness of those around you. Remember, as you change, your entire world must change to match your new vibration. Now, let us delve into the power of gratitude in manifesting your biggest comeback. Gratitude is not just a pleasant emotion. It is a powerful creative force. When you are grateful, you are affirming that you already have what you desire. This aligns you with the frequency of your completed comeback, drawing it into your physical experience. Begin and end each day with gratitude for your comeback as if it has already happened. Feel the joy, the relief, the sense of accomplishment. Give thanks for the specific aspects of your comeback, the success, the relationships, the experiences it brings. Make this gratitude so real that you can feel it in every cell of your body. As you do this, you may notice that you begin to feel grateful for your current circumstances, even if they seem far from your desired state. This is a powerful shift. By finding things to appreciate in your present situation, you raise your vibration and become more receptive to the good that is coming to you. Remember, the universe doesn't distinguish between gratitude for what you have and gratitude for what you desire. It responds to the feeling of gratitude itself. So by cultivating an attitude of gratitude, you create a powerful, attractive force that accelerates the manifestation of your comeback. As we near the conclusion of our discussion on making your biggest comeback, I want to address a question that may be arising in some of your minds. What if I've tried all this before and it didn't work? My dear friends, if you find yourself thinking this, I want you to consider something profound. The very fact that you're here listening to these words, contemplating the possibility of your comeback, is evidence that your desire for transformation is alive within you. This desire is not your own. It is the universe, God, the divine, whatever name you choose to give it, seeking to express itself through you in a new and expanded way. Your desire for a comeback is a promise of its fulfillment, for you would not have the desire if you did not also have the capacity to achieve it. The presence of the desire is proof of the presence of the capacity to fulfill it. So if you've tried before and didn't see the results you wanted, know this: you have not failed. You have simply been preparing. Every attempt, every setback, every moment of doubt has been shaping you, refining you, making you ready for this moment now. Perhaps in the past, you didn't fully understand the power of your imagination. Perhaps you didn't persist in your assumption long enough. Or perhaps the timing wasn't right, and the universe was arranging circumstances in your favor behind the scenes. Whatever the case, know that all of your past experiences have led you to this moment, where you are now ready to make your biggest comeback. As we come to the end of this talk, I want to leave you with this final thought. Your comeback is not just about you. Yes, it will transform your life in magnificent ways, but more than that, it will impact countless others. As you step into your greatness, as you allow the God within you to express itself fully, you become an inspiration to others. Your comeback becomes a beacon of hope, showing others what is possible when one fully embraces the power of their imagination. So, my dear friends, I challenge you now. Go forth and make your biggest comeback. Live from the state of its completion. Feel it, believe it, become it in your imagination. Persist in this assumption, no matter what your senses may tell you. Release the old, embrace the new, and watch as your world transforms before your eyes. Remember, you are not merely making a comeback. You are awakening to the truth of who you really are. A divine being, one with the creative power of the universe. Your comeback is your birthright. Claim it now in your imagination, and it must become your reality. Thank you, and may your biggest comeback be even greater than you can imagine. The art of manifesting multiple desires simultaneously is not merely possible. It is the natural state of your divine being. For you are not limited to manifesting one desire at a time, just as God does not create one thing at a time, but sustains and creates countless realities in every eternal moment. Let me tell you that your consciousness, your wonderful human imagination, is not bound by the limitations of time and space that appear so real to your mortal senses. Your imagination, which is God Himself operating in you, can hold multiple states with perfect clarity and bring them all into your physical experience with mathematical precision. Now let us understand this principle deeply. When you enter your room at night, you do not light one corner and wait for it to brighten before lighting another. You simply switch on the light, and the entire room is illuminated instantly. This is how your consciousness works with multiple manifestations. You need not complete one before beginning another. They all exist then or do in the wonderful human imagination. I tell you, time is merely a device of your mortal mind. In the realm of consciousness, all things exist simultaneously. When you truly grasp this, you will understand that manifesting multiple desires is no more difficult than manifesting a single desire. For in consciousness, there is no competition, no waiting line, no priority queue. Let me share with you a principle that I have tested countless times. When you desire to manifest multiple things, you must first understand that they all exist now live in what I call the fourth dimensional world, the world of consciousness. Your physical world is merely a shadow, a reflection of what you have assumed to be true in consciousness. Consider this when you dream at night. Your dream contains multiple elements, people, places, events, all existing simultaneously. Your consciousness creates and sustains all these elements without effort or strain. This same power operates in your waking state through your wonderful human imagination. Here's a technique I want to share with you tonight. Instead of thinking of your desires as separate entities competing for manifestation, see them as different aspects of your already existing perfect life. Just as a diamond has many facets, yet remains one diamond, your desired state has many aspects, yet remains one state, the state of fulfillment. You must learn to live from the end. See yourself already in possession of all that you desire. Make your multiple desires a single composite state. If you desire financial abundance, perfect health, and harmonious relationships simultaneously, do not separate them in your consciousness. Create a single scene that implies the fulfillment of all these desires. Let me give you an example. Instead of creating separate scenes for each desire, construct one scene where you are discussing with a friend how wonderful your life is, implying the fulfillment of all your desires. In this conversation, you naturally mention your flourishing business, your perfect health, and your harmonious relationships as already existing facts. This single scene, when entered into with feeling and conviction, will set in motion all that is necessary for the manifestation of your multiple desires. Remember, my dear friends, the outside world is dead. It has no power to create or to prevent. It is purely a shadow world reflecting what you have assumed to be true in consciousness. Therefore, do not be concerned with the how or the when of your manifestations. Your only responsibility is to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled for all your desires. Now, here is a vital point that many miss. When manifesting multiple desires, you must not strain or effort. Strain implies that what you want is absent, distant, or difficult to achieve. Instead, relax into the assumption that all your desires are already fulfilled. Feel the naturalness of having all that you desire. I want you to understand this deeply. The feeling is the secret. The feeling of naturalness is the key to manifesting multiple desires simultaneously. When something is natural to you, it requires no effort to maintain. You don't wake up each morning wondering if gravity will work today. Its operation is natural to you. This is how your fulfilled desire should feel, natural, normal, and already yours. Let me tell you a principle that has never failed. Before you sleep tonight, review your day as though all your desires are already fulfilled. Feel the joy, the satisfaction, the completeness of having all that you desire. Make this feeling so real that as you drift into sleep, your physical world seems like a shadow and your imagined state feels more real. You see, my dear friends, manifesting multiple desires simultaneously is not about working harder or doing more. It's about understanding the true nature of consciousness and its relationship to your physical world. Your consciousness is the only reality. All else is derived from it. When you truly grasp this, you will understand that there is no limit to what you can manifest simultaneously. Just as a mirror reflects everything placed before it without strain or selection, your physical world must reflect whatever state you have assumed in consciousness. Now, let me share with you another profound truth. Your multiple desires, though they may seem separate in the physical world, are united in consciousness by a single feeling, the feeling of fulfillment. This is why I emphasize feeling rather than visualization. The feeling of fulfillment, when achieved, automatically brings with it all that is necessary for its expression in your physical world. Remember, my dear friends, revision is a powerful tool when manifesting multiple desires. If during your day events seem to contradict your desired state, revise them immediately in your imagination. See them conforming perfectly to your desires. This is not denial, this is the proper use of the law. You must persist in this practice until your desired state becomes your dominant feeling. Just as a musician must practice until the piece becomes second nature, you must persist in your assumption until it becomes your natural state of being. Let me tell you something that many find hard to accept. Time is not a factor in the fulfillment of your desire. What appears to take time in the physical world is merely the unfolding of what has already been accomplished in consciousness. Therefore, when manifesting multiple desires, do not think in terms of time or sequence. Your wonderful human imagination knows no limitations. It can handle multiple desires with the same ease as it handles one. Just as your eyes can perceive multiple objects simultaneously without strain, your consciousness can hold multiple fulfilled desires without effort. Here is a practical application before you sleep tonight. Construct a scene that implies the fulfillment of all your desires. Make it a short, simple scene. Perhaps you are sharing with a friend how everything in your life has fallen perfectly into place. Feel the joy, the satisfaction, the completeness of this state. Fall asleep in this feeling. Remember, my dear friends, your consciousness is God operating in you as you. Therefore, it has the power to fulfill all your desires simultaneously. There is no need for prioritization or scheduling in consciousness. All is no-do. When doubts arise, and they will arise, for that is the nature of the mortal mind, remember this truth. Your physical senses show you only shadows of past assumptions. Your true power lies in your ability to assume a new state now, regardless of what your senses dictate. Let me share with you another principle. Your multiple desires are not separate entities requiring separate efforts. They are different aspects of your expanded consciousness. When you truly understand this, you will see that manifesting multiple desires is as natural as breathing. Consider this: when you breathe, you don't consciously coordinate the multiple processes involved. Your body knows exactly what to do. Similarly, when you assume the feeling of your wishes fulfilled, the infinite intelligence within you knows exactly how to bring about their manifestation. Now, here is a vital point about manifesting multiple desires. Do not concern yourself with the bridge of incidents, the series of events that will lead to your manifestation. Your only responsibility is to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. The infinite intelligence within you will arrange all the necessary details. Remember, my dear friends, your physical world is merely your servant, faithfully reflecting your consciousness assumptions. Therefore, maintain your assumption of fulfillment regardless of appearances. The physical world has no choice but to conform to your conscious assumptions. Let me emphasize this point. When manifesting multiple desires, do not make the mistake of trying to figure out how they will all come about. This is not your responsibility. Your only responsibility is to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Here is another practical application. Throughout your day, whenever you think of any of your desires, see them as already fulfilled. Make this your habitual attitude. Let the feeling of fulfillment be your constant companion. Remember, my dear friends, you are not trying to make something happen. You are assuming that it has already happened. This is the crucial difference that many fail to grasp. You are not working towards something, you are living from the end. When manifesting multiple desires, maintain this attitude. Isn't it wonderful that everything is working out perfectly in my life? This simple attitude, maintained with feeling, will do more for your manifestation than all the planning and striving in the world. Let me tell you something about the nature of manifestation. Everything in your physical world is a manifestation of consciousness. Therefore, when you change your consciousness, everything in your world must change to conform to your new assumption. This is why, my dear friends, I emphasize the importance of living from the end. When you live from the end, you are not trying to make things happen. You are simply allowing what is already complete in consciousness to unfold in your physical experience. Remember this principle: your consciousness is the only reality. Everything else, everything you see, hear, touch, taste, and smell is a shadow of your conscious assumptions. Therefore, when manifesting multiple desires, focus on maintaining the consciousness of fulfillment. Here is another practical point. Do not discuss your desires or your practice of this law with those who would doubt or discourage you. Your manifestations are sacred, should be kept within the sanctuary of your own consciousness until they appear in your physical world. Let me share with you another truth about manifesting multiple desires. The feeling of fulfillment is your compass. If you are properly assuming the feeling of your wishes fulfilled, you will experience a deep sense of satisfaction and peace, regardless of external circumstances. Remember, my dear friends, the law is simple but exact. It works with mathematical precision. Whatever you assume is true in consciousness must be expressed in your physical world. This is why you can manifest multiple desires simultaneously, because in consciousness all is possible and no law. Your physical senses may argue against this truth. They may show you evidence that seems to contradict your desires. But remember, your senses only show you the effects of past assumptions. Your power lies in your ability to assume a new state now. Let me give you another practical application. When you lie down to sleep tonight, feel as though you are lying down in the state of your wishes fulfilled. Feel the satisfaction, the completeness, the joy of having all that you desire. This feeling, impressed upon your subconscious mind during sleep, will work wonders. Remember this vital point: your subconscious mind does not argue. It simply accepts what you feel to be true and works faithfully to express it in your physical world. Therefore, when manifesting multiple desires, focus on impressing upon your subconscious mind the feeling of complete fulfillment. Let me share with you another vital aspect of this law. When you dream at night, do you find your dream limited to one scene, one desire, or one experience? No. Your dream consciousness effortlessly creates entire worlds, complete with multiple characters, scenarios, and experiences, all happening simultaneously. This is the same power that you possess in your waking state through your wonderful human imagination. I tell you with complete conviction that your consciousness is like an infinite ocean, capable of holding countless drops of desires without becoming full or strained. Just as the ocean doesn't struggle to contain its many waves, your consciousness doesn't struggle to hold multiple manifestations. Now let me share with you a deeper principle that many overlook. When you truly understand that all of time exists, now you will realize that there is no such thing as sequence in consciousness. Your tomorrow, your next year, your perfect life, they all exist now in the eternal moment of consciousness. Consider this: when you enter a movie theater, the entire film exists on the reel, though you experience it scene by scene. Similarly, all your desires exist and all in consciousness, though they may appear to manifest sequentially in your physical experience. This is why I tell you that manifesting multiple desires simultaneously is not only possible but natural. Here is another profound truth: your consciousness is not divided into compartments. It doesn't maintain separate folders for your different desires. All your desires exist in a unified state of fulfillment in consciousness. This is why focusing on the feeling of complete fulfillment naturally brings about the manifestation of all your desires. Let me give you a deeper understanding of this principle. When you say I am, you are expressing the fullness of your being. This I am consciousness contains within it all that you could ever desire. Therefore, when manifesting multiple desires, focus on the feeling of I am, the feeling of being the person who has all these desires fulfilled. Remember, my dear friends, the physical world is merely a shadow, a reflection of your conscious assumptions. Just as a shadow cannot choose what to reflect, your physical world cannot choose which of your assumptions to manifest. It must reflect all of them faithfully. Here is another practical application of this law. Throughout your day, whenever you think of your desires, do not see them as separate goals to be achieved. See them as different aspects of your already perfect life. Feel the wholeness, the completeness of being the person who has all these desires fulfilled. Let me share with you a deeper truth about the nature of consciousness. Your consciousness is not bound by the limitations of physical space. Just as a single seed contains within it the pattern for an entire forest, your consciousness contains within it all possible states of fulfillment. When you truly grasp this principle, you will understand that manifesting multiple desires simultaneously is not about dividing your attention or energy. It's about expanding your consciousness to embrace the fullness of your desired state. Consider this: when you look at a beautiful garden, you don't see each flower separately. You experience the beauty of the whole garden as one unified experience. This is how you should hold your multiple desires in consciousness, as one unified state of fulfillment. Let me tell you something about the nature of assumption. When you assume a state, you are not creating something new. You are simply choosing to experience what already exists in consciousness. Therefore, when manifesting multiple desires, you are simply choosing to experience the state where all these desires are already fulfilled. Remember this crucial point. Your physical senses may tell you that your desires are separate, that they must be achieved one at a time. But I tell you, this is merely the illusion of time and space. In consciousness, all is one, all is now. Here is another practical application. When you lie down to sleep tonight, instead of reviewing your desires as separate items on a list, feel the completeness of being the person who has all these desires fulfilled. Feel the naturalness, the ease, the grace of living in this state. Let me share with you another profound truth about manifestation. The feeling of fulfillment is not divided. You don't feel partially fulfilled or fulfilled in stages. When you truly capture the feeling of the wish fulfilled, it is a complete, whole feeling that encompasses all your desires. Consider this: when you are truly happy, you don't analyze the different aspects of your happiness. You simply feel happy as a complete state of being. This is how you should approach manifesting multiple desires as one complete state of fulfillment. Remember, my dear friends, the law operates with perfect precision. It doesn't distinguish between big desires and small desires, between one desire and many desires. It simply responds to your conscious assumptions with mathematical precision. Let me emphasize this point: your consciousness is the only reality. Everything else, every circumstance, every condition, every event in your physical world is simply consciousness made visible. Therefore, when you change your consciousness to one of complete fulfillment, your entire world must change to reflect this new assumption. Here is another vital truth. The feeling of the wish fulfilled is your most precious gift. It is the feeling that sets in motion all that is necessary for the manifestation of your desires. Therefore, nurture this feeling, protect it, maintain it regardless of appearances. Remember, my dear friends, you are not trying to make something happen in the future. You are choosing to experience what already exists in consciousness. This is why manifesting multiple desires simultaneously is not about effort or struggle. It's about choosing to experience the state where all your desires are already fulfilled. Let me share with you another principle. The state of fulfillment is not a distant goal to be achieved. It is a present choice to be made. Right now, in this eternal moment, you can choose to experience the state where all your desires are fulfilled. Consider this: when you dream at night, you don't create the dream piece by piece. The entire dream experience appears fully formed in your consciousness. This is how manifestation works. The entire state of fulfillment exists now in consciousness, waiting for you to step into it. Remember this truth: your physical world has no choice but to reflect your conscious assumptions. Therefore, when you assume the state of complete fulfillment, all circumstances, all conditions, all events must rearrange themselves to reflect this assumption. For this is the law, my dear friends. It is exact, it is precise, and it never fails. Test it in your own experience. Prove its truth through application. For in the end, it is not what you believe about the law that matters. It is what you prove through experience. And so I tell you again, go forth and apply this law. Live from the state of complete fulfillment. Maintain the feeling of the wish fulfilled regardless of appearances. For as surely as night follows day, your physical world must conform to your conscious assumptions. For this is the promise and the law, as within, so without. As above, so below. What you assume in consciousness must manifest in your physical experience. This is the way, this is the truth, and this is the life. Remember, my dear friends, you are the operant power. You are the consciousness in which all things exist. Therefore, choose wisely, assume lovingly, and live constantly in the state of your wishes fulfilled. For this is the secret of manifesting multiple desires simultaneously, to live from the end, to live in the state of complete fulfillment Nanodi. And in this eternal now all things are possible, all desires are fulfilled, and all manifestation is complete. This is the truth I share with you tonight. This is the law that never fails. This is the promise that is always kept. In closing, my dear friends, remember that you are the operant power in your world. Your consciousness is the only reality. Your physical world is simply responding to what you have assumed to be true. Therefore, assume wisely, assume lovingly, and above all, assume the feeling of your wishes fulfilled.
When we turn to prayer, we are not merely speaking words into a void or petitioning a distant power. We are engaging in a profound act of creation. Prayer at its truest essence is not about asking, begging, or hoping, but rather about assuming. To pray effectively, one must assume the feeling of the fulfilled desire, stepping fully into the reality of the thing we seek as though it has already manifested. This act of assumption aligns us with the very state in which we wish to dwell, and by embodying this state we allow it to come forth into the world of form. Imagine for a moment that your heart's desire has already been granted. The joy, the relief, the peace these emotions should fill you as though the prayer has already been answered. This is not make-believe or wishful thinking. It is the truth of prayer that taps into the power we have to create. When we pray from the state of assumption, we begin to live in the end, immersing ourselves fully in the experience of fulfillment. Prayer, in this sense, becomes a sacred act of embodying our desires, and in a knowing that what we have asked for is already ours. In the silence of your mind, imagine vividly. Allow yourself to see, to feel, and to dwell in the state of already having. If it's healing you seek, feel the warmth of vitality coursing through your body. If it's abundance, feel the peace and security of having more than enough. If it's a loving relationship, bask in the tenderness, companionship, and love as though it fills your life now. Let every fiber of your being become attuned to this reality as though it is already here. Hold this state, let it grow in your heart, and carry it forward unwavering. To pray as if it's already done requires releasing doubts and worries. Worry contradicts prayer, for it is the seed of fear that doubts the power within. Assume instead that there is no obstacle, no force working against you. Trust that your desire is already aligned with the boundless potential within. Once the prayer has been cast forth in the quiet of assumption, we need only release it and go about our lives holding on to the feeling as a constant state. Whenever your mind drifts back to the prayer, see it not as a question but as a certainty. Reaffirm to yourself it is done, and know that as you hold to this assumption, life itself bends, rearranging circumstances, people, and events to mirror the state you have embraced. Let go of the urge to watch for results, for the results will come naturally when your heart and mind rest fully in the belief of their reality. You do not strain a seed to grow, you allow it. In the same way, we allow our assumptions to blossom, trusting that their fulfillment is assured. Prayer, in its highest form, is living in a state of acceptance, a recognition that the desired outcome is already set within us, waiting to unfold. To pray as if it's already done is to understand the language of creation, to know that our inner state defines our outer world. And so in stillness we align, we assume, and we trust, knowing that all we seek is already within, waiting to manifest through our unshakable belief. When you engage in prayer, it is essential to remember that you are not merely speaking to the air, reaching out to some far-off entity, or pleading for something you do not have. Instead, prayer should be seen as the act of claiming what is already yours, a way to align with the reality that you seek. Prayer is a powerful tool of creation, but only when used correctly. Too often people pray from a place of need or lack, thinking they must convince a higher power to grant them their wishes. But the true power of prayer lies in assuming that what you desire is already yours, right here, right now. This shift in perspective changes everything. When you assume the feeling of your desire already being fulfilled, you move into the state where the prayer has already been answered. The assumption is not about hopeful wishing or trying to make something happen. It is about understanding that your desire is already in motion. It is like planting a seed and assuming it will grow without needing to micromanage the process. The universe or the divine works in its own time, but your job is to stay in alignment with the assumption that it is already done. To begin, let's understand that everything exists in its completed form. Your desires, your dreams, your goals all exist in the spiritual realm, and your role is not to beg or plead for them, but to align yourself with their already existing state. Imagine for a moment that what you want is already complete, whether it's a job, a relationship, health, or wealth. If it were already yours, how would you feel? What would your thoughts be? What would your state of mind look like? This is what you must begin to embrace in prayer. When you assume the feeling of having what you desire, you tap into the law of creation itself. You are, in essence, living as though your desire is already a part of your reality. You feel it, you experience it, and you claim it as yours. This feeling of already having, of already being, is the key to transforming your life through prayer. It is not about trying to make things happen, it's about realizing that they already are happening on a deeper level. When you pray, let go of the words and let go of the asking. The asking creates the feeling of need, and need implies lack. To pray effectively, you must assume that what you desire is already done. You must step into the feeling of already being there. If you're praying for financial abundance, for instance, do not pray from a place of scarcity or lack. Instead, feel the security, the joy, and the peace of already having all that you need. Let this feeling fill you completely. The more you can assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, the more you will begin to notice changes around you. People, situations, and opportunities will begin to shift, moving in alignment with your new state of being. This is the power of assuming. You are not changing external circumstances directly. Instead, you are changing your internal state, and as your state changes, the world around you must reflect that change. The outer world cannot help but mirror what is going on inside of you. To assume your prayer is already done requires complete trust in the process. There must be no room for doubt or fear. Once you pray, you must believe that it is already taken care of, and you no longer need to focus on it. Worry, anxiety, and impatience are the enemies of effective prayer. They arise when we believe that we are not already aligned with our desire, when we forget the assumption that it is already ours. But the moment we return to the feeling of having, the moment we embody the emotion of fulfillment, everything begins to fall into place. Prayer is not a ritual that must be repeated over and over. It is not a practice of begging for mercy or a cry for help. It is a powerful act of assuming. When you assume the fulfillment of your prayer, you enter into a state of already being in possession of that which you desire. There is no need to question how or when it will come. It is simply a matter of aligning yourself with the assumption that it is done. When you assume that something is already in motion, the universe or the divine forces that work behind the scenes are activated, and all that is needed for your prayer to come to fruition will manifest naturally and effortlessly. It is vital to remember that the world around you is constantly responding to the state of being that you occupy. If you hold the assumption that you are already healed, your body will begin to align with that assumption. If you hold the assumption that you are already financially abundant, your bank account will begin to reflect that belief. It is not magic, nor is it wishful thinking. It is the natural law of assumption in action. You are not waiting for something to happen, you are living in the truth that it has already happened. The key to powerful prayer is in living as if the prayer is already answered. One of the most powerful ways to pray is through visualization. Picture yourself in the state you desire, feeling it as if it were already real. Visualize the events, the circumstances, and the emotions as though they are already happening. This mental image is more than just a picture in your mind. It is the creative act of assuming your desired outcome. Every time you return to that image, you are reinforcing the assumption and sending out a powerful signal to the universe that you are in alignment with your goal. The feeling is the key. It is the emotion that brings everything to life. When you can assume the feeling of already having your desire, you ignite the creative process. The power of prayer lies not in the words you speak, but in the feeling behind them. Words without feeling are empty, but words filled with the assumption of already having, those words are alive and filled with energy. Your feelings are the language of creation. When you pray, let your heart be filled with the joy, the peace, and the satisfaction of already having received. As you continue in this practice, you will find that it becomes easier to stay in the state of assumption. The more you pray in this way, the more natural it becomes to live in the feeling of fulfillment. You will begin to notice that you are no longer waiting for things to change outside of you, because you already feel as though they have changed. You are no longer seeking answers, because you already have them. You are no longer asking for blessings, because you are living in the blessing. This is the power of assumption in prayer. It is not a passive process, it is an active creation. You are the creator of your reality, and prayer is your tool for manifesting that creation. The more you assume, the more you embody the state of already being, the quicker your desires will manifest. Your job is simply to remain in that state, to keep the assumption alive, and trust that the universe is bringing everything to you in its perfect timing. There is no need to struggle, no need to wrestle with your desires. Prayer, when used in this way, is effortless. It is not about trying to change the world, it is about changing your perception of it. When you assume the feeling of your desire already being fulfilled, the world must conform to that assumption. It cannot do anything else. Everything in your life will begin to fall into place as you align with your prayer and embody the fulfillment of your desire. Do not make the mistake of praying and then doubting, praying and then worrying. If you believe that you are truly living in the assumption of your prayer already being answered, then all doubt must vanish. Once you have prayed and assumed it is done, you must trust that it is already working behind the scenes. Let go of the outcome, for the outcome is already known. Let go of how it will come, for that is not your concern. Your job is to assume, to feel, and to live as though it is already yours. In time, you will see the results of your prayers. The universe works in ways that are beyond our understanding, but rest assured that when you assume the feeling of your desire being fulfilled, it must manifest in your physical reality. It will come, not because you have begged for it, but because you have already assumed it. The assumption is the beginning and the end of the process. You do not need to ask again, you simply need to live in the assumption that it is already done. In the quiet of your heart, in the stillness of your mind, you can always return to the feeling of your prayer already fulfilled. This is the foundation of effective prayer. Prayer as assumption is the key to unlocking the creative power within you. Live as though your desires are already fulfilled, and watch as the universe brings them into being before your eyes. When you pray with the assumption that your desire is already fulfilled, you elevate your consciousness to a place of certainty. This certainty comes not from external evidence, but from the inner conviction that what you have asked for is already in motion, already done. It is a state of mind that transcends doubt and allows you to experience life through the lens of abundance and possibility, rather than lack and limitation. In a world that often conditions us to wait for signs, to question our worth, and to wonder if things will ever happen, assuming the end result allows us to transcend these mental blocks. The key here is the feeling, the deep, unshakable knowing that what you want has already manifested. When you adopt this mindset, you no longer need to look for signs or proof. The proof is in the feeling, and the feeling is what shapes the outer world. The principle of assumption is based on the law of correspondence, as within, so without. When your inner world is filled with the assumption that your desires have already been fulfilled, your outer world will reflect that assumption. Your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors all signal the universe to bring you the things you desire. What you assume, you create. When you align yourself with the feeling of already having, you create a powerful magnetic force that draws your desires toward you. The real power lies in your ability to maintain that assumption without wavering. It's easy to assume when everything seems perfect, when everything is lining up, and when life feels effortless. But true mastery comes when you can maintain that assumption even in the face of challenges or setbacks. When things don't look the way you expect, this is the time to reaffirm your assumption more than ever. You are not waiting for external evidence to validate your assumption. You are the creator, and you dictate the terms. You already know that what you have asked for is on its way. When you assume the feeling of your prayer being answered, you begin to experience life differently. You notice the opportunities, the synchronicities, and the signs that all point to your desired outcome. But none of these things happen because you are searching for them. They occur because your assumption has created the space for them to manifest. The universe is responding to the energy you are emitting, and when you vibrate at the frequency of having what you want, the world around you must respond in kind. It's important to realize that this process does not require force. The assumption works effortlessly. When you truly assume the state of having, you are no longer pushing or striving. There is no resistance. You are simply allowing the manifestation to unfold. The universe doesn't respond to your desperate pleading or your fear-based thoughts. It responds to your inner state of being. When you assume, you let go of all resistance, and the world aligns with that. When you pray, do not pray from a place of lack. Do not ask for something you feel is missing. Instead, pray from the place of knowing that you are already whole, already abundant, and already aligned with everything you desire. This shift in perspective is essential for the power of assumption to work. You are not trying to bring something new into existence. You are simply aligning with a version of yourself and a version of reality that already exists in potential. Your prayer is not about getting something, it is about stepping into the truth that it is already yours. As you continue to practice prayer as assumption, you will find that the process becomes easier. It will become second nature to assume the feeling of fulfillment, of abundance, of health, or whatever it is you desire. This is the art of living in the end result. The more you practice, the more you will see how the world begins to shift to match the inner state you are embodying. Opportunities will come, people will appear, and circumstances will align, all in perfect harmony with your assumptions. At times you may find yourself tempted to doubt. The world outside may not reflect your assumptions immediately, and this is when your faith will be tested. But true faith is the unwavering belief that your prayer is already answered, even when you cannot see the physical evidence. Faith is not about hoping, it is about knowing. It is about trusting that the universe is always working behind the scenes to bring your assumption into reality. The process may take time, but as long as you stay in the state of assumption, you will find that everything you need will come to you at the perfect moment. To pray as if it is already done is to live in alignment with your highest potential. It is to understand that you are not separate from your desires, but that you are one with them. When you assume, you are not waiting for something to come from outside yourself. You are drawing from the infinite well of possibilities that already exist within you. You are the creator of your own reality. And when you pray with the assumption of fulfillment, you are calling forth the power of the universe to bring your desires into the physical world. Your thoughts are the seeds you plant, and your feelings are the fertile soil that nurtures them. When you pray, plant the seed of assumption, and then nurture it with the belief that it has already grown. Do not dig up the seed out of doubt or impatience. Let it grow in its own time, knowing that the universe has already set everything in motion. Your job is to remain in the state of fulfillment, to continue assuming that what you want is already yours, and to trust that it is already done. The moment you release the need to know how it will happen is the moment the process accelerates. When you cling to the how and the when, you are creating resistance. You are limiting the possibilities by trying to control the outcome. But when you let go of the need to know, when you trust in the divine timing of the universe, you open the door for miracles to occur. The universe knows far more than you do about how to bring your desires into form, so trust that the process is unfolding perfectly. This is where true peace and power lie, in the knowledge that everything is already working for you. You do not have to force things. You do not have to manipulate situations or people. When you pray and assume, everything will fall into place. Your role is simply to hold the state of fulfillment, to walk as if your prayer has already been answered, and to trust that the universe is bringing your desires to you in its own perfect way. You may not see the results immediately, and that is perfectly okay. The key is to stay in the assumption and to live in the feeling that your prayer is already fulfilled. When you do this, you are sending a signal to the universe that you are in alignment with your desires. The universe does not work on your timeline, it works on divine timing. Trust that everything is happening as it should, and remain open to receiving. As you continue this practice of prayer as assumption, you will find that your life begins to change in ways you could never have imagined. The more you embody the feeling of your prayer already being answered, the more you will see those answers reflected in your outer world. It is not a matter of forcing the universe to give you what you want, but rather a matter of aligning with the flow of abundance and allowing your desires to manifest effortlessly. Remember, the power of assumption lies in the feeling. When you feel the joy, the peace, and the fulfillment of already having your prayer answered, you create a vibration that attracts more of the same. It is a magnetic force that draws your desires to you. And as you continue to pray in this way, you will find that the world around you begins to align with your assumptions, and your desires will manifest more quickly and more easily than ever before. In prayer, there is no need to doubt or to question. Simply assume that your desire is already fulfilled, and live in that assumption every moment of every day. The more you assume, the more your reality will begin to shift, and you will experience the full power of creation at work in your life. Keep your faith strong, your assumption unwavering, and trust that everything is already in motion. You are the creator, and when you pray as though it is already done, you are activating the universe to bring your desires to life. Every time you practice this kind of prayer, you are building a stronger bridge between the seen and the unseen. You are grounding your desires in the soil of faith, allowing them to grow in ways that may surprise and uplift you. There is no need for outward signs, because the true sign lies within you. You know it is done, and that knowing is all the proof you need. In the quiet moments when you are alone with your thoughts and dreams, immerse yourself in the joy of already having, already being, already achieving. Live in the feeling of fulfillment, as if each of your desires has taken root in reality, growing day by day in the rich soil of your belief. This approach to prayer invites a profound shift within you, one that carries over into every part of your life. You may notice that you no longer cling to things or people, no longer feel desperate or anxious. That peace within becomes unshakable, because you are anchored in the certainty of your assumption. You walk with an aura of confidence and assurance, knowing that everything is aligning in perfect timing. This state of being attracts people, circumstances, and opportunities that resonate with your new reality. It is as though the entire world conspires to bring your assumed desires into form, because you are operating on a frequency that naturally draws them toward you. Even more remarkable is the way this mindset frees you from needing validation from others. When you assume the end, you no longer look to others for approval or reassurance. You do not need to explain your desires or defend your dreams, because you are at peace within. You are rooted in the awareness that everything is already happening. The opinions and doubts of others become like distant echoes, unable to shake the certainty that resides within you. This liberation allows you to focus entirely on your journey, unburdened by outside influences. You become resilient, your faith unbreakable, because you know that the power lies in your assumption, not in any external approval. As you deepen this practice, you begin to recognize that this power of assumption is not merely about manifesting things or situations, but about transforming yourself at the core. It is a journey of becoming the person who naturally experiences the reality you desire. With every assumption you hold, you are aligning with a higher version of yourself, one who effortlessly embodies peace, joy, and abundance. Your prayers then become not about asking or wishing, but about stepping into the life that aligns with who you truly are. You are not pretending to be someone else, rather, you are uncovering the person you were always meant to be. In this space, you experience prayer as a direct communion with the creative force that shapes reality. This force does not operate based on arbitrary conditions or limitations. It simply responds to the energy you radiate. And when that energy is one of certainty, fulfillment, and gratitude, it brings those very qualities into your life. The process of prayer as assumption aligns you with this creative force, allowing you to move in harmony with it, rather than against it. You become a conscious co-creator, fully aware of the power you wield through your thoughts, feelings, and assumptions. Imagine each prayer as a brushstroke, painting the canvas of your life with vivid colors and forms. Each assumption you make is like choosing a color, deciding the shape of your world. As you pray with this depth of conviction, you are continuously painting a masterpiece, a life that reflects your highest aspirations. There is no need to erase or start over. Each moment of assumption builds upon the last, layering your reality with intention and purpose. This is the art of living deliberately, of knowing that you are always in the act of creation, whether you are aware of it or not. Your role is simply to choose the colors, to assume the shapes, and to allow the creative force to bring it all to life. You do not need to worry about how the final picture will appear or when it will be complete. Trust that each stroke, each assumption, is contributing to the beauty of the whole. You are an artist of your reality, and prayer is your medium. The more you embrace this role, the more harmonious and joyful your life becomes. In every moment, you have the opportunity to return to the feeling of your prayer being fulfilled. When challenges arise, see them as reminders to deepen your assumption, to reaffirm the feeling of already having. Let them be gentle nudges that guide you back to your center, to the place within where you know that all is well. Each obstacle, each moment of doubt, is simply a test of your faith, a chance to choose once more to align with your assumption. And with each choice, your faith grows stronger, your reality more aligned with the desires of your heart. You may find that over time, even the process of praying transforms. It becomes less about specific desires and more about a general state of abundance and gratitude. You begin to live in a state of constant prayer, constantly affirming the beauty, joy, and love that fill your life. This shift is a sign that you are becoming attuned to the higher principles of creation, that you are no longer bound by the need to chase after things. Instead, you embody a state of fulfillment that naturally attracts all that is good and needed for your growth and happiness. There is a profound peace in knowing that everything you desire is already here in potential, waiting only for you to assume it as real. You don't need to strive or struggle to bring it forth. You simply need to relax into the feeling of having, to trust in the invisible processes that are unfolding on your behalf. Life becomes an exquisite dance of receiving, of allowing the blessings to flow into your experience without resistance. You are no longer a seeker, but a receiver, and every day becomes an adventure in witnessing the fulfillment of your prayers. As this practice becomes second nature, you will look back and marvel at how easily your desires manifested. The things you once hoped for, longed for, and even doubted will have effortlessly come into being. You will realize that they were always within your reach, awaiting only your assumption. And with this realization comes a deeper understanding of your own power. You are not limited by circumstance or bound by past patterns. You are a creator, endowed with the ability to shape your reality in accordance with the desires of your heart. This realization brings with it a profound sense of responsibility, for you understand that every assumption carries with it the power to create. You become mindful of the thoughts and beliefs you entertain, choosing only those that align with the highest vision for your life. Your prayer becomes a declaration of this vision, a commitment to living in harmony with the best within you. And as you continue to assume the feeling of already having, you become a living example of the power of faith, a beacon of what is possible when one chooses to believe in the unseen. Let each day be an opportunity to deepen this practice, to live more fully in the state of assumption. Approach each moment with the knowledge that you are already whole, already blessed, and already connected to all that you desire. The world around you will reflect this inner state, and you will find that life becomes a continuous flow of miracles and blessings. You are not waiting for a future moment to be happy, fulfilled, or at peace. You are living it now in every prayer, in every thought, in every assumption. In the stillness of your mind, affirm that it is done. Feel the joy, the peace, and the love that come from knowing that all is well. This is your true nature, your birthright as a creator. Embrace it fully, and let your life be a testament to the power of assumption. A life where every prayer is a declaration of your faith in the unseen, a manifestation of your deepest truth. In closing, remember that the power of prayer as assumption is not merely a method, but a way of being, a journey into living as though all you desire is already yours. This journey isn't about hoping, wishing, or waiting. It's about embodying a truth that aligns with the deepest desires of your heart. Each moment you return to this feeling of fulfillment, you reinforce your connection to the divine source within you, the very power that brings all things into existence. Let every prayer, every quiet moment of belief, become a sanctuary where you know without a doubt that you are guided, loved, and supported. As you walk forward in the Spirit, life will respond in kind, reflecting back to you the joy, peace, and abundance you hold within. Trust in the reality of your inner vision. Live from the certainty of your assumption, and let your life unfold as a continuous answer to the prayers you dare to feel as already fulfilled. In this way, you become a radiant expression of faith and a witness to the profound truth that what we assume in faith, we realize in life.